Today on AI Applied, we are talking about frayed nerves. Guys, I know we are hours after the election. We know that there's a lot of people, millions of people in the United States right now, where Jaden and I are, that are feeling like really upset. Now, of course, there's a lot of people who are overjoyed at the results today, but there's a lot of people who are really hurting today. And Jaden and I, based on how we live our lives and things like that. I won't talk about faith or anything like that, but like we think about the vulnerable a lot in our life. And for today, I really just wanted to talk about how we can use this. Now, stick with me here. How we can use things like generative AI, ChatGPT, things like that, to be a real safe place to process. Now, don't dismiss this too quickly, because Jaden has has done some amazing work in this space with life coaching and all that kind of stuff. I know we have some of our other friends who are into the mental health space. But I want to think today about how you actually use something like ChatGPT to be a safe place to process, to be a safe place to sort of play the role of the other side. Like, hey, I know you supported the other side. Help me, ChatGPT, to understand how you're thinking, all that kind of stuff, because I really do want to understand. Or if you just need to process, feelings and you don't want judgment, or if you're, feeling like, hey, how do I talk to my coworker who's really feeling down? Anyway, Jaden, you've done a lot you kind of like, in one sense, you had a tremendous amount of success in life coaching, which has a little bit of this in generative AI life coaching. But how did you, when you were kind of thinking about that, what are some of your ways of thinking about this, and tell the folks like how you see this space?
Yeah, no, I really do think that AI is an incredible opportunity for this. When you're talking to friends and family, obviously everyone's got a lot of different opinions on this, so it can be really tricky, right? Whether that's an election like this, or there's a hundred other important topics that could be just as emotionally charged for a lot of people, and so AI is a great way to have a really hopefully unbiased and neutral, and you can tell it to be unbiased and neutral in how it responds to you to make sure that you get a response you like. But yeah, I think this is a great way to talk. My wife actually uses ChatGPT a lot. She tells me when she's struggling with with something. She just she'll tell me, and of course, she also is like the real powerhouse behind Self-Pause, our AI life coach and stuff. And so I've helped build a lot of the product. I do not profess to be like the expert on the life coach and like all of that, all of those angles of it, but working a lot with it. And what I've seen a lot of people love about it is essentially a prompt, something like along the lines of, in a non-biased, non-judgmental way, please help me process and understand, X, Y, and Z topics. This is what's happened to me. Act like a life coach, act like a therapist. I know like therapist is kind of like the no word because it's like regulated and stuff, but you can tell it to act like a therapist. And if you're doing this yourself, like the reason I say this is like I would never call anything I create an AI therapist. That's too, you set yourself up for legal stuff, so life coach or whatever. But when you're talking to it, act like a therapist, act like a psychologist, however you want to say it, and then really have a conversation with it. I think it's fantastic. I even use it personally when I'm talking with a person, at work, in business. Maybe something isn't going my way, something has went, something's happened, and I don't want to be this mean guy that chews people out, but like sometimes people make mistakes, and you have to discuss it and broach the subject and get it fixed. So in the kindest way
Yeah.
possible, I will even take
Yeah.
messages when I'm frustrated about something, put it into ChatGPT, and I'm like, hey, in the most neutral way possible, please, tell this person X, Y, and Z things did not go how they were supposed to. How do we fix them? Where how do we overcome this obstacle, etc. And sometimes I'll even put my like original message, which can be a little bit raw and a little bit angry and frustrated. I'll put that in there, and I'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
please
yeah.
make this non-biased and neutral, because maybe I'm not at a place where I can write that in a kind way. ChatGPT does a fantastic job of this, and so it can be reversed where it can give you feedback in the same manner. So yeah, I think it's a really
Yeah.
fantastic tool for this.
That's a great business use case, because a lot of times just our emotions get the better of us, and this is a great way to process our emotions, especially at work when you're just upset, and it's the first sort of sounding board. It's almost like you're writing in a journal or something like that, saying like, "Oh my gosh,
Totally.
I'm so frustrated with my coworker because of this," or "I'm so frustrated with my boss. Now, clearly, I can't just say this stuff. So here's what I want to say, like ChatGPT. Here's what I want to say, but can you help me?" And what ChatGPT often does is it validates you, unless, as Jaden says, you give it really specific kind of instructions, be like, "Hey, play the role and be argumentative," or something like that. but
Mhm.
ChatGPT will validate you. And I can't tell you how good that feels. We are still human, and all of this stuff just reflects our humanity. And so when you get validated, even by something that, well, it sounds very human, even though it is a machine, there's just something about the cortisol levels dropping in your body, and you can just feel it. Now, again, don't take our word for it. Please do try this, because one of the things that we're trying to get folks to do out there is, how do you build trust with a generative AI tool? So a large language model like a ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that. And I think one of the best ways to build trust is just to talk to it. And so again, on a day like today, when there's a lot of people feeling very hurt. And by the way, no matter how the election would have gone, we would have seen the same message. A lot of people would have been very, very hurt, dismayed, not understanding, because there's a lot of division in America that makes you just feel like the other side is just evil. They don't get it. How could they possibly? All that kind of stuff. Totally understandable. But just remember that all those things come from deep experience, deep hurts, deep feelings, things that they're scared about in their life, things like that. And ChatGPT is an amazing mirror that you can say, hey, listen, play the role of, and name the other side, and tell me why they might be hurt. Tell me, and make it, because as we know on X and on other places, people just use it as an opportunity to be like, because that person's evil, or because that person's horrible, that person's trying to ruin our society. Whatever it is, ChatGPT is not that. Instead, it will play the role of a compassionate, kind person who's just trying to help you understand. I'm telling you, I did this morning. It was super helpful. And also, just as Jaden is talking about the life coach part, therapist is a little bit of a loaded thing. But even just to validate it, we can feel our cortisol levels going down. It can help us process it. It can help us do this. And it also builds trust in this thing, to the point where now what I love what Jaden is saying is, you can then take it into the work setting. It's like, well, if this was this good with me, I wonder how I can have this with my coworker who's difficult, right, Jaden? So I'm seeing from you, well, you actually do have self-pause, which is literally this life coach thing, but I hear you talking about taking this into business too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about it from a lot of perspectives. I mean, the self-pause angle and using tools like that, I mean, essentially, to give you guys the secret sauce on like what self-pause does, we have like meditation tracks that you can listen to, positive affirmations. It's really big on positive affirmations. But then there's also an AI life coach in there. And the secret sauce on that is essentially, we just worked with some life coaches. We developed a prompt. So, anyone can develop it. It's just a prompt. It's about a page long. And we just talked to life coaches about their process as a life coach, what questions they ask, what frameworks they use. And we just kind of built that all into a prompt that it can ask people and
So
walk
good.
them through a conversation. So that's kind of how that goes, but really powerful. People really appreciate it. And it's not like anyone's thinking like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was talking to a real life coach, or this is going to replace real life coaches. But like, this is such an accessible 24/7
Yeah.
available resource that does a fairly good job of helping you process your emotions and talk about your thoughts and feelings and whatever. So I think these are great tools. And then I think that it applies, sure, for your thoughts, feelings, emotions in your personal life and stuff, but also for business and your job will make
Yeah.
you perform so much better. And we know like we're not going to do our jobs our best if we're not in the best place, in the best
Yeah.
headspace. And so yeah, this helps a ton.
I,
And I've
I,
seen
I
a
love
lot of
that.
great
I,
reviews.
I love that, Jaden. And the other thing I love about it is that ChatGPT now, as you all know, has memory. Now you can toggle on or off memory in ChatGPT. And so
Mm-hmm.
I toggle it off because I'm constantly doing demos for companies. I do a lot of trainings for companies. And so what I'm doing is not me, right? I'm like, hey, I'm an HR professional or something. But my wife, Liz, uses memory and uses it really effectively. So ChatGPT really understands her. She's like, hey, I'm trying to work through this thing. Like, how should I think about this? And it's usually at work. She's at McKinsey. Without obviously she doesn't give any client information in case anybody's listening out there, but it's just more like, hey, how should I think about this? I'm wrestling with this issue, and it already knows her. So it's like, Liz, I know that you think about this in this way. So if you have memory toggled off, another way to do this, if you haven't used a GPT yet, they're very, very simple to build, and the way to build it is just you go in there and you tell it, even through voice to text, everything about yourself. And then every time you want a sort of a life coach, you can literally just have GPT life coach, or go over to self pause or something like that and just have it talk through it. This is how Poe, by the way, deep cut here, kind of made its name, right? With these sort of little GPTs. But with this, I really think on a day like today, something like ChatGPT can be an incredible thought partner when you know that all your friends probably feel the same way, but you're scared to talk to your other coworkers or other people who are on the other side, and they're feeling a radically different way, and they're not a safe space. Again, just try this out. Don't make a quick judgment on it. Try it out for yourself. See what you think. I just think today's the day to test that out, right, Jaden?
I sure hope that helps a lot of people, and I think it's a great tool for that. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. Hopefully you learned some new things. I know this obviously doesn't apply to everyone on the election. You can look at the percentage. A big percentage of the population voted for the winner. A big percentage did not. So this isn't going to apply to everyone. But I also want you to know that these methods, regardless of how you feel about that, also apply to your job, your career, your business, and anything you might be processing, even if this isn't something that's an issue for you. So I think that this is a great tool. If you enjoyed the episode today, please leave us a review. Connor and I are doing our best to stay as an unbiased, non-overly political source during this crazy time. And we love you all. We hope that you enjoyed the episode, and we will catch you next time.